Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Maverick family. A ton of stuff to dig into tonight. We have two serious incidents in the United States involving shooters, very likely linked to the war in Iran, acts of terrorism, potentially, probably. We're seeing where the investigations go. We're going to get you the latest information. Also, the Prime Minister in Yellowknife tonight addressing Arctic sovereignty, and that is ongoing even as we speak. But no, sorry, I hit the wrong video there. That was an old police video of crime up in Vaughan. But yeah, we're going to be taking you to Bloomfield, Michigan, about 25 miles outside of Detroit, and also to Yellowknife, where the Prime Minister is at the moment making an announcement regarding Arctic security. So stay with me. All kinds of stuff to dig into, and we'll be right back on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
We are back, and let's bring Joseph in from Detroit. Hello, sir.
Hello. I certainly wish I was here under better circumstances. I wish we would be reviewing another movie, but
well, here we go. So this is Joseph is here because, of course, he's over in Detroit, and in Michigan around just after noon today, a male suspect rammed a truck through the doors of Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield Township. This is, how far away from Detroit is that, Joseph?
Yeah, about 30 miles or so. Yeah, not very far. So
okay. So we have some video of what the scene looked like, and we're going to go to a news conference in just a moment. But here's what the scene looked like just moments after the attack. So
that's when they were still treating it as a potential active shooter, not knowing if there could be an accomplice, or he did have incendiary devices in the vehicle, so they weren't sure also if there might be a bomb to go with that. So yeah, they were still cautious at that point.
Okay, so it looks like we are not running on our main channel.
Uh-oh.
So hang on a second here. Let me just check. Okay, we're just going to keep on going, and everyone will have to go over to Rumble
Scott,
too.
Are you having an identity crisis?
Hang on,
Are
let
you
me.
wondering who you are?
This is very frustrating. Our system has been blocking for last few weeks channels when we're trying to broadcast. So I'm going to have to figure out something better because this is not working. Especially, and we didn't run on YouTube yesterday because they blocked our signal to YouTube. We are running right now on one of the YouTube channels. I'm just going to check and see if we're actually running any place. Otherwise, we'll have to reboot the whole broadcast. Okay, we're on YouTube. And I guess we're going to have to just go with the way it is. And I'll get the link to Rumble too. Are we running over here? Yeah. I'll put the link in. I think, yeah, we're running everywhere except on the main channel where we get most of the viewers. But they'll all move over to 2 for tonight. So that's okay. We'll put the link in there. And actually, I think Linda has already done that, so that's helpful. And there we go. So everybody's going to move to watch. And thank you. Okay, so all right. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? So yeah, so here's what we know. Truck rammed through the doors of Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield Township. Let me get that video back up here, by the way. Here we go. All right. In West Bloomfield Township, this is a suburb of Detroit, one of the nation's largest Reform congregations with a preschool and a school inside of this building. The vehicle drove down a hallway near classrooms, and the attacker exchanged gunfire with armed security guards. Security neutralized the suspect. He was killed at the scene. His body was apparently badly burned in a fire that came afterward, and authorities say identification is still pending. One security guard was struck by the truck and is being treated, but is expected to recover. And all 140 preschool students, teachers, and staff are safe and accounted for this evening. No other injuries reported. The FBI is leading the investigation, describing it as a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community. A lot of speculation online claims that this is an act of terrorism. I don't know if FBI.
Yes, guys, we have actually all our phones are just going off with alert right now about the active shooter, so you could hear that noise.
Yeah, this is not live. The video that we're showing
here,
you.
Oakland County, also the chief of police. They're about to give us an update here.
Right, and we're going to go to a news conference, actually, to get you the most up-to-date information, because this is actually not live. So let me go over here, Joseph, because I don't want to give people the older stuff. Let's give them the new stuff. And this is also not live, but this was just moments ago. So this is the most up-to-date information we have for you at the moment. And almost there. Just many things to click on. Get rid of that, and that's better. Okay, here we go.
Well, thank you for coming. I'm Mike Bouchard. I'm the Oakland County Sheriff. Excuse me, I'm kind of losing my voice. A lot going on today. I kind of want to give the 20,000-foot level, and then we're going to have a number of speakers, both from the police department here, Chief Young, and from the FBI. Obviously, a horrific thing happened tragically here in Oakland County again. So we've been through a number of these things. And the one thing that I want to make sure the local community is aware of first and foremost is this community works together hand in glove. This community takes care of each other. And we have been communicating regularly. I have been texting the chief, not just in West Bloomfield, but every place that's got significant houses of worship, Jewish facilities, synagogues, temples, you name it, over the past 2 weeks. Obviously, what happens around the world sometimes affects us, so we have to think about it and be prepared for it. So we've been talking. I texted actually the head of security from the temple 2 days ago and communicated some information to him. So the first thing the community should know is that we not just today work together, we work together all the time. Our state, our federal, and local partners. Number one. Number two, we train. In our world, preparation is important. We hope and pray it never happens, but that's not a strategy. Preparation is. So all of us have been training together for many years for active shooters or active assailants, mass casualty events, and tragically we've had way more than our share. So that is ongoing and is in place. The third thing is important to note, no children and no staff were hurt. So we know there's evil in the world, and we know they only have to get it right once, and sometimes they do. They may not come on anybody's radar and they show up, but what happens when they show up, that's where training and preparation kicks in. The security staff did an amazing job, and you'll get some of the details on that, but they stopped the threat. No kids, no staff were hurt. Now there were some injuries and things that had to be taken care of. One of the head of security was taken to the hospital. He got knocked down by the car when it breached the building, and we've had 30 law enforcement officers taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. So a lot of our folks from my SWAT team and other agencies are still in treatment because that building became engulfed when the car and we'll learn all of that through the investigation, why it became engulfed in flames, what was the ignition source, and I think the ATF is taking the origin of that source and origin of the fire. But in any event, what it did, it caused terrible, terrible smoke in that part of the building. And so when all of our people collectively went in that building to search out the threat, to remove innocent, a lot of them took in significant amount of smoke inhalation, and they're at the hospital being treated. So I also know you're going to have a lot of questions. A lot of those questions can't be answered at this point because it's super preliminary in the investigation. You know, all of us have thoughts of maybe why this happened, but we don't operate in a world where we can presume something. We have to determine it through investigation and specificity. And that is a work that's in progress as we speak. All of us will work seamlessly together to get the answers, and then it will be called what it is. Obviously, it's a hateful, terrible thing, right? But what drove this person into action, that has to be determined by the investigation. We can presume, but we have to find those facts, and that's going to happen over the next days in time. So we won't be able to get into a lot of the evidentiary questions, but we're available to make sure the community understands that we are still on a very heightened platform. And the most important thing that I would tell the community, don't be afraid to call us. If we're not your own local police department, call your local police department. We'd rather respond to 100 nothings than miss one real deal. The only way we prevent something like this is to get a call. Something's off with my son, my brother, my boyfriend, whatever the case. I saw something posted. That's the only way we interdict, because people are more likely to see or hear something before us. So if you see or hear something, you have to communicate that. And then we can intervene and hopefully prevent. But if we can't prevent, then we respond and mitigate. That's what happened today. And I think based on the early information, it happened flawlessly. So with that, I'll kick it over to my friend Chief Young from West Bloomfield Police Department.
Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Dale Young. I'm the police chief of West Bloomfield. I want to share with you how we got to where we are today. So today we received a 911 call which came in around 12:19 p.m. It was about an active shooter situation at Temple Israel where the individual drove into the building. West Bloomfield officers arrived on scene under 5 minutes. Temple security officers engaged the individual and neutralized the threat. Our officers, combined with area agencies, cleared the building multiple times and safely and successfully evacuated all children and staff. This is an active crime scene, and we are examining every angle related to this situation. I will now turn this over to the FBI for further comments.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Runyon, last name R-U-N-Y-A-N, and I'm a special agent in charge of the FBI Detroit Field Office. This is a deeply disturbing and tragic incident, and our deepest sympathies are with the victims, their family, and the entire Jewish community. The FBI is here working with our state, local, and federal partners to investigate this incident, and I can confirm that we are leading the investigation right now as a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community. As my partners have said, this is an active and ongoing investigation with an active crime scene, and I ask for your patience as we process this evidence and pursue every lead that has come to us and that we have developed thus far. And what I can share is this. There was one subject involved in this incident who is now deceased. And as my partners have said, we've had no victim fatalities. I will not be able to provide additional information at this time on the subject or his motive, as our goal is to protect the integrity of this investigation and to ensure that we give you accurate and timely information as soon as we can. The FBI was notified of active shooter at Temple Israel at approximately 12:45. We immediately activated and deployed all of our crisis response resources, which includes our SWAT team, our crisis negotiation team, our evidence response team, our special agent bomb techs, our weapons of mass destruction team, our cellular analysis survey team, and our victim services, as well as more than 100 agents and analysts to ensure that we are actively mitigating and responding to the active threat, but also pursuing diligently and methodically every lead that we have. My ask to the public is a few things. I know everyone wants information now, but I ask that you be patient as we are still processing this scene and still pursuing everything that we can and that has come to us today. Second, we've activated a digital media tip line for any witnesses who has photos or videos of the incident today. They can upload those at www.fbi.gov/West Bloomfield attack, all one word. But the public can also report through our call line at 1-800-CALL-FBI if you have any information about this incident and or any other suspicious activity that you see around in your community, your life, your places of worship, your schools. As the sheriff said, we all need to remain vigilant, and it takes the whole community to ensure that we remain safe. I also understand that congregants may have left some personal effects at the synagogue, and as soon as we have a reunification site to get those effects to the affected victims, we will be sure and release that as soon as possible. I want to thank our partners and the first responders and the security personnel at Temple Israel who did an excellent job at mitigating this threat, and we're very grateful for their bravery and their service. Next, I'd like to bring up or offer up Stephen Ingberg, the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Detroit.
As the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Detroit, I'd love to say I'm shocked or I'm surprised, but I'm not. This is something that we trained for. Thank you to all of the law enforcement officers who stand behind us and the many who don't. Thank you to our Jewish community security team. This is a tough time. It is a tough time, but we will get through this. We'll get through this together. We'll get through this stronger. And we'll continue to be loud and proud of being Jewish. This will not change us. This will not deter us, and we will continue. With that, I'd like to turn over to Rabbi Ariana Gordon of Temple Israel.
Thank you so much. As you've heard, there's so much that we don't know. We're going to be processing all of this in the days and weeks to come. But what I do want to say is a huge thank you to our law enforcement, to our Temple Israel security team, and to our early childhood center teachers who were the true rock stars of the day. They ensured that all of our children remained safe and calm throughout the entire day and got every single child safely reunited with their parents this afternoon. And for that, I can't express my gratitude enough. We are really appreciative to all of you for making sure that everyone made it home tonight. Thank you for being here.
Okay, I think that's it. Obviously, we can't get into evidentiary questions, as I said, but I think the message is clear that we all stand united, stand together, whether it's federal, state, county, or local. We're committed to keeping this community safe. If you think you can target the Jewish community in this county or anywhere in this state, you're wrong. We're going to not only stand in front of them to protect them, we're coming for you. So with that, thank you.
That will be all for our media event.
I will throw it over to you for your comments.
Yeah, what you didn't hear there, and what Newsmax was reporting, is that it's a naturalized U.S. citizen from Lebanon residing in Dearborn that decided to drive for whatever reason to the West Bloomfield Township Synagogue to engage in this attack. Much else beyond that, I've heard suspicions or rumors of a past terror charge and potential conviction, which means he could have potentially been stripped of his citizenship and deported. And indeed, if that were true, it's another case of an event that could have been very preventable, because the person should have never been here. If he's engaged in actions in the past, he should have been deported, couldn't have been here to do this now. But it's hard to keep all these incidents correct, because also today, Old Dominion University, there was an assault in Norfolk, Virginia, where that definitely was someone who was previously convicted on terror charges, should have been deported, was not, was protected, did this in the name of ISIS again, and one dead and one injured there, as well as the shooter there dead. So these things are happening so fast and furious, it's almost hard to keep all the facts straight. And of course, you all had the U.S. consulate attack just a few days ago on the 10th of this month. Richmond, Ontario, there was an event on the 2nd of the month. So these things are happening in exponentially increasing incidents.
Yeah, so Newsmax is reporting, do they have a name that they're using at this point?
I had not heard the name, no.
So, yeah, I don't, and you see, I'm seeing Alex Jones saying
God.
this is an Islamic terror attack, but I didn't hear a name there either. We just heard police say they're not releasing the name, but of course it is possible to get names sometimes from relatives, families, people who maybe know something, but I don't know what's credible, what isn't at this point. So you're saying Newsmax. Do you have a link, or do you?
No.
So here's Fox 2 KTVU, Temple Israel shooting, what we know about suspect, but they're not naming a name.
And again, so take what I've said with a grain of salt. I don't know how well sourced the information that was provided on Newsmax is or was. Again, things can be foggy. We're still only really 7 hours from when the incident began.
Yeah.
So indeed, I understand the police and the FBI at this point wanting to be cautious and careful with the information that they put out until some further investigation is done.
You said that Newsmax was reporting that. Was that something you saw on social media? Was it? Did you actually see a headline from Newsmax?
It was a commentator on Newsmax an hour and a half ago or so.
Okay.
That said it.
I have.
Part of the problem with me today, too, was I was up all night working on my next book, so I didn't get much sleep. So I'm dealing with brain fog. So all this information is.
Well, I know, but let's go over. We'll go over to the Newsmax feed here on. We'll go to their X account and just see what they have. Like I've not seen a name from anybody else.
I've not heard a name at all. I just heard again that it was someone naturalized from Lebanon, resides in Dearborn, and drove from Dearborn to there. No name, nothing beyond that. That's all they said. And whether that has been double, triple sourced or not,
see, we do have know. We do have a name on this shooting out in Virginia, which we're going to go to in a moment.
Virginia, the guy's been named, yep. Because he spent time in prison. He was released, of course, half the sentence he should have been. And indeed, in that case, he should have still been locked up. And what a shock. He tried to commit an act of terror prior in the name of ISIS, and what a shock. They let him out and he does it again.
So yeah, 4 hours ago is the most recent post Newsmax is making here on their X account. I'm gonna go to their website.
Yeah, that never necessarily keeps up.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't read it anywhere. I happened to have on that channel at the time when it was mentioned.
Here. Okay, let's go to their website. I don't know. We'll go to this thing in Virginia in a moment. And okay, here we go. Newsmax website. I'm interested. If someone's saying they have a name or an identity. Their headline, Trump, we are monitoring Iran sleeper cells in U.S. Yeah, I was reporting on that yesterday. He's now saying that what was his quote? They know where they all are, he says, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think there's something like that.
Well, I understand, and I want our politicians to be somewhat cautious and reassuring and not peddle paranoia, but it's like them trying to tamp down the drone threat. Well, cells have been here for a while now. Iran doesn't need to put drones on a boat and send them over. They could have bought drones and put IEDs on them right here. So are drones a potential threat? Yes.
So it says here it's an unidentified assailant killed Thursday after ramming his pickup truck into a synagogue. So they're not, I don't see a name here or any identity affixed to the suspect in this particular case here. So,
and I don't,
whatever that commentator was saying online, I don't know where that's coming from.
It wasn't online. It was on the channel. And again, I don't think it was a Newsmax host. I think it was a person that was there indeed as a commentator. So it was not, double and triple sourced by Newsmax. It was a comment that he made. So at this point, we have to kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I'll take that with a big grain of salt, like I did the clip from Alex Jones. Maybe we'll go to the clip from Alex Jones in a minute. President Trump on end of war in Iran. I don't know. I'll run this clip because it seems to be maybe attached to this story. So I don't know if Trump has commented on this yet today or not. Are you aware of?
He did. He made comments, hearts and thoughts and prayers out to the Jewish community and, just generic commentary.
More of the same, and we'll see how that all comes out. Right now, they've lost their Navy, they've lost their Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft apparatus at all. They have no radar. Their leaders are gone. And we could do a lot worse to one another. We're leaving certain things that if we take them out, or we could take them out by this afternoon, in fact, within an hour, they literally would never be able to build that country back.
They must have clipped out the part. I did see on either Fox, OAN, or Newsmax. I've been flipping through the channels to see who all was saying what about it. And there was a clip where he did mention, hearts go out to the Jewish community in Michigan, kind of generic statement.
Okay. I have a photo of the suspect in Virginia. Let me grab that for you here. Many things to click on again in order to get it up on the screen. Right there. And there we have it. So what do we know here?
Yeah, this is the guy that's an ISIS sympathizer. And
so, yeah, authorities say a gunman, this guy, opened fire inside Constant Hall at Old Dominion University in Norfolk this morning. It happened around 10:40 a.m. Suspect has been identified as 36-year-old Mohammed Baylor Jallo, former Virginia National Guard member and naturalized U.S. citizen, originally from Sierra Leone. Court records show Jallo pleaded guilty in 2017 to attempting to provide material support to the Islamic State group ISIS. And because they're saying a naturalized U.S. citizen, I'm wondering, Joseph, if maybe the person speaking was confused.
It's possible. Again, both incidents occurred today, or maybe I misheard what they were saying and was confusing the stories. I can't claim that I didn't get them confused. But indeed, we know this one was naturalized, but the other one they were saying was naturalized from Lebanon. This they're saying from Sierra Leone. And again, if he was indeed imprisoned on terror charges, he could have been stripped of his citizenship and deported and would not have been here to be able to commit this act.
So in 2017, he entered a guilty plea to attempting to provide material support to ISIS, including plans to acquire weapons and to donate money for attacks. He was released from federal prison last December, so just months ago, entered an ROTC classroom and opened fire, killed one person, a retired military officer, serving as an instructor, and wounding two others who were hospitalized. And then quick-thinking ROTC students subdued and killed the gunman before police arrived. The FBI investigating this as an act of terrorism. FBI Director Kash Patel and Special Agent in Charge Dominique Evans have both confirmed the ISIS links and praised the students' heroism in stopping the attack. Classes at Old Dominion are canceled for the rest of the week, and counseling is being offered to the campus community. I believe we have the video of the news conference there, which also just a very short time ago, so we'll get you the most up-to-date info on that. Any comments on that, Joseph?
No. I unfortunately, again, with two events happening the same day, information is trickling out pretty slow.
Sure. So, okay, I've got the clip. I've got the comments on that. If I can get the computer to cooperate. And here we go. To Virginia. FBI.
What we know now is there's one deceased victim and 2 at the hospital. We are saddened by this tragedy in our community. The FBI mourns the loss of life in this abhorrent tragedy and violence. I'd like to acknowledge the students who showed extreme bravery and courage by containing the containing the shooter and stopping further loss of life. The FBI is now the lead investigative agency investigating this as an act of terrorism. The shooter has been identified as Mohammed Baylor Jallow. In 2016, Jallow was arrested and pled guilty for attempting to provide material support to ISIL, now known as ISIS. Jallow was sentenced to prison in October of 2017 and was released from prison in 2024. FBI Norfolk's Joint Terrorism Task Force and our evidence response team responded to the scene, and we will continue to have a physical presence here at the scene as we process the evidence. Additionally, we are conducting other investigative steps into Jallow and the specifics of the shooting. We have dedicated analytical and tactical support. We are aiding in this investigation throughout the entire time. We will continue to work alongside of our partners and those in the community to find answers. The FBI continues to ask for the public's help in providing any information that could lead us in resolving this investigation, and we remind the public that any detail, no matter how small, could be useful. A collection of those small details may help paint a complete picture. We ask that the public submit their tips to www.fbi.gov/ODU shooting. Do you have any questions for me or for my partners here? Yes?
Yeah. With still little details that we know about the shooting so far, how are we able to confirm that this was an act of terrorism?
How it was an act of terrorism? I can tell you that we have confirmed reports that prior to him conducting this act of terrorism, he shouted, stated Allah Akbar, and he was formerly a subject of a FBI investigation in material supporting terrorism.
Agent, were there explosives in his car?
We have no information about any explosives in his car or anywhere else at this time.
Did he have one weapon?
As far as I know, we only know of one weapon that he had on his person at this time.
What kind of aid was he giving to ISIL 10 years ago?
He wanted to conduct a terrorist attack similar to that in Fort Hood, Texas.
Is there any mention of the war in Iran right now?
None whatsoever.
How was he deceased?
There were students that were in that room that subdued him and rendered him no longer alive. I don't know how else to say it, but they basically were able to terminate the threat.
So he was not shot?
He was not shot.
He shot 3 people?
Correct. We have information that he shot 3 people.
The one that went to Virginia Beach for treatment, was that person?
One moment. Going back.
So I don't have any information at this time about the specific, life-threatening or not otherwise to the 2 that are still alive. But at this time, we're respecting the victims of the shooting. That includes not only the ones that were shot, but all of the people here at ODU I consider our victims. This is a tragic event, and I do ask that you look at that. You're all part of our community too. And so I just want to throw that out there too, to give the respect and the time needed to provide that additional information about the victims.
Did you say he was released in 2024?
Correct.
What was the Bureau's intelligence level on him since then?
So I don't have any of that information right now. That's because this is an ongoing investigation. After we learned of his name, we confirmed that he was formerly a subject of material support to terrorism investigation and obviously was sentenced for that. But I don't have any information indicating that he was known or an ongoing problem.
We'll take one more question. Do you know more specifics on how he was subdued?
Yeah, the brave ROTC members in that room subdued him. And if not for them, I'm not sure, what else he may have done. But that's exactly, they confronted him and they subdued him, and he was no longer able to conduct any further attack.
That was the last one? Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. Some were ROTC students involved. Is there any reason to believe that they were targeted?
Well, I believe that at this time we have to take all the information that we will receive from the victims. So I don't want to make any preemptive judgments or anything to this at this time exactly. Keep in mind, we're going to look at forensic information, anything that he may have had interest specifically for any targets. And because I don't have that yet, I can't confirm that at this time.
Do you know how many people were in the classroom?
I don't know the exact number of the people in the classroom.
How long do you suspect this investigation will last?
It's a fair question. It really completely depends. So we obviously are going to dig in, and this is why we need the public support to where he may have been before this, who he may have been in contact with, if he had any other supporters, anybody providing him information. So we have to track every single lead down, and that's is exactly what the FBI will do. Every single lead, we're going to track down the veracity of the information and make sure that we have a full investigation with as much information, again, to ensure that there isn't anyone else that he may have been receiving support from as well.
Do you have any evidence that he was self-funded?
No, I don't have anything at this time.
Thank you, everyone.
Anything else? No? Thank you.
Well, what I find interesting, since I don't know where Rick went, Cosmo might have need his attention again. But what I find interesting in this is the question was asked, did the suspect do this because of Operation Epic Fury? And they said they have no evidence of that. While the suspect is dead, he's not going to give up information. It's not unreasonable to guess or speculate, since he got out of prison 2 years ago, that he waited till now, that it probably has a little to do with Operation Epic Fury, why he decided to act again now. Again, speculation, but certainly not unreasonable speculation to consider.
It sleeper cells, talking about sleeper cells, talking about this
lone wolves, right? You don't know.
The warning from the FBI saying Iran is ready to launch drone attacks against California. When I hear stuff like that, I'm like, maybe. On the other hand, it could be propaganda. It could be that.
It could be disinformation
from the government, or it could be false information being fed to the government. I don't know how you make sense.
Yeah.
What's real anymore, right?
I don't doubt. Well, if you listen to Iran again, how much do you want to listen to the Baghdad Bob side of things? Oh, they're winning the war, right? They're going to strike us with drones. Well, is it indeed just hyperbolic lashing out? Or, again, we know people, there are almost 200 countries on the planet. And we know, we've seen almost 3/4 of all nations. We have illegals from almost 3/4 of all nations on the planet. So is it unrealistic to assume, to a degree, some are here from Iran or Lebanon, if maybe indeed if that information was correct about the person here in Bloomfield Hills or not, we don't know, that they have been here and if not planted, just acting out on their own now or not, it's hard to know. But there are people here, obviously, who do not mean us well. And being able to keep an eye on them all is certainly not realistic. We try to tamp down events before they happen, but it's impossible. It's like Bouchard said in the press conference. They only have to get it right once in a while. And thank God that the West Bloomfield Synagogue was basically mostly empty. There was going to be a food drive and some other event there later tonight. So thankfully, that person went in when he did, or that building would have been teeming with people, and a lot of people probably been injured or killed. Luckily, the casualty count is low because he picked a bad time, if you will. You know, in his mind, he wanted a time when it would be full of people, and he got it wrong. Thankfully, they got that wrong, and that helped.
Well, I don't think it's going quite as smoothly as the U.S. as Trump and Hegseth would like. Just report just coming in, just right now, totally fresh. U.S. KC-135 tanker has crashed in western Iraq as part of Operation Epic Fury. CENTCOM confirming the loss happened in friendly airspace, no hostile or friendly fire involved, and we're just waiting to see if they have any details coming through on deaths or injuries.
Mechanical problems can happen, pilot error, whatever. Whenever there's a conflict, there are bound to be some unfortunate happenings like this. It's not going to go perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. We've had casualties due to drone attacks. Our 6 deaths, I think it's only 6 right now, all were result of Iranian drones. So that's why the heightened concern about the drones still exists.
Actually, I think it's up to 7.
Is it now 7?
6, I think it was revised yesterday to 7.
But if one of our
an
planes
attack in Kuwait, and then there was a 7th death in, I think it was Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to check the details on that again. But in any event,
but if a plane went down from our side and there are some more casualties, am I surprised? No. Things go bad in a conflict. It's never going to go 100% your way.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the war all of a sudden is a failure.
Oh, no. Okay. So what's your assessment of how all of this is going? We had Raj on last night. He was making phone calls over to the UAE and tried to get through to some people, some contacts he has in Iran as well. But because the internet was an issue there, he wasn't able to make contact right in Iran, but he was talking to people in UAE about the reports of attacks there. Just give me your assessment of the overall war situation.
Well, it's again, no such thing as perfect. And once a conflict starts, it's always fluid and things can and could change. And I don't want anyone on our side telegraphing what we are or aren't going to do at any given time. Stop telling the enemy what you will or won't do. That's just plain stupid. And I think Iran, even that one of the leaders said they regret then attacks on fellow Muslim nations. It was a bad idea. Although someone in the IRGC then countered them, they're still hitting Muslim nations in the area who are not part of the operation, and outside of attempting to attack U.S. bases in those nations. And that's going to backfire on them. A lot of them are considering they're going to drive them into the hands of the Abraham Accords. At least I hope so. So I hope, in a way, Iran stays obstinate and keeps acting irrationally towards its neighbors that even aren't in conflict with it, so that it brings a broader potential for greater peace when this is all done. Hopefully, they are able to rise up and put a reasonable government in place when this is all done. But, once the fog of war starts, you just don't know.
So what do you think is happening over there? Do you think that's a real possibility that the people are going to rise up and replace the government?
They've been wanting to for a long time, and there have been, war gamings that remember back during Obama, the Arab Spring, if you will. But Biden or Obama didn't back the revolution and them rising up. Trump promised, we will give you help, and this is the help that's been willing to be given now to try to give them the chance to do it. But ultimately, who knows? It's entirely still up to them. Will some in the IRGC defect over and, for the sake of saving their own skin, say, okay, this government's coming to a close, we'll help bring in a new one or not? It's all fluid. It's all up in the air. And if anyone says they know, they don't. No one knows. Anything can happen at this point.
Viewer discretion advised. This is video from Virginia, Norfolk, as the victim, I think, was taken out, removed. And you can see, you see what's going on there. So,
yeah, but regarding Iran, it's hard to know because they, of course, are attempting to lock everything down, shut down the internet. Elon's tried to deploy Starlink, but any information in and out is spotty at this point. So what's really happening on the ground there internally, it's hard to say.
So, again, I wonder what the true objective is here. Like, what's the end game? What is it that they are trying to achieve? Like, I still find the messaging very conflicting from the administration.
Again, in a way, I'm glad it is. Strategic ambiguity. You do not, unless if you're a moron, as we have been in the past, telegraph what you are or are not going to do. The absolute one hard and fast stated goal is you will not be able to keep a nuclear program. We will decimate your missile program. Also, if regime change happens, we would welcome it, but we ourselves are not at this point open to committing boots on the ground, but at the same time, it's not ruled out. And I don't want anything ruled off the table. Everything is on the table until it isn't.
So you think that it's strategic to not state what the objective of the war is, so that the American public, the American taxpayers, you're not supposed to know why you went to war?
We already said it's to decapitate their nuclear program. That's the one hard and fast. And then other potential objectives are ambiguous, and again, should be, because you don't negotiate with the enemy in the middle of the conflict. You don't telegraph. You tell your people, you're telling the enemy. So
actually the way this went down is they attacked. It wasn't that they're not negotiating in the middle of the attack. They attacked in the middle of the negotiations.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the right thing to do?
Well, it was clear that the negotiations were going nowhere. The Iranians walked away again and were delaying. So at that point, I think negotiations were pretty well done. I don't view it as like Japan attacked Pearl Harbor before the declaration of war was given. But then again, we don't have official declarations of war against other nations. And this, again, we have to remember, Iran has been at war with the West since the 70 revolution. For 47, almost 5 decades now. The barracks bombings, the material support to groups given to kill Americans and other allied troops in Iraq and elsewhere all around the Middle East, all the last 5 decades, they have been at war with us. And we finally said we're not going to tolerate it anymore, because Reagan didn't do anything about it. In fact, unfortunately, as much as I love Reagan, Reagan cut and run after the barracks bombing in Lebanon, rather than saying, okay, we're sending in even more troops. So that showed Iran the U.S. is a paper tiger. And we've landed up with this ongoing war for 5 decades now, until somebody is going to put the foot down. And again, I ask, do you want to wait until there's mushroom clouds over Paris, Berlin, London, Ottawa, New York City, and Tel Aviv? Is that what you want to do? Just, wait, it's too soon, wait till there's a nuclear cloud and there's millions dead before we do anything. No, that's dumb.
Well, it was just last June that Trump said that the entire program had been obliterated. And I mean, so I think what you're spreading here is fake news, because according to what's on the White House website tonight, Iran's nuclear facilities have been obliterated, and suggestions otherwise are fake news. So what you're saying is supposed to be fake news.
And our own intelligence has been putting out information that they have been rebuilding, and they've been working at another facility at another mountain that would be even deeper underground. That's why boots on the ground are not out of the question. Special forces, either Israeli or American, are likely going to have to go in, because supposedly the Iranians said, we've got enough materials still left that wasn't destroyed. And again, Trump was being hopeful. And I said at the time, no, they aren't obliterated. They did not hit Fordo hard enough. They did not hit all the facilities. So again, I'm not a Trump
Hit
cultist.
Fordo hard
And
enough.
just
It's how many bunker busters did they drop? It was about a dozen, if I remember.
yeah, but that was very deep underground.
Right
and
here.
they are
Witkoff right here. We put 12
attempting to
bunker buster
reconstitute.
bombs on Fordo. There's no doubt that it breached the canopy, and this is on the White House website. There's no doubt it was well within reach of the depth that these bunker buster bombs go to, and there's no doubt that it was obliterated. So the reporting out there that in some way suggests that we did not achieve the objective is just completely preposterous.
And this is just propaganda, which, as I've said over and over, every side does. Canada puts out propaganda. The United States in this there put out propaganda. I deal in reality.
So which is real? The information they're putting out
So
now,
we
or the
should
information they put out
try
in
to
June?
make this about Trump is
I don't know. I'm just
stupid.
It's not about Trump. It's on the White House website. I want to know what's
Who's
going on.
president?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't tell what's real. I can't tell from what's online. I can't tell from what's coming out of Trump's mouth. I can't tell from what's on the White House website. Joseph, it's hard to tell. So we had Raj phone over to the UAE, where there are reports that the UAE, Dubai being attacked by drones. That seems real, but I want to make sure he's phoning over to talk to actual people who are there that he knows to confirm information yesterday. So we had him on. He was able to confirm some stuff. But at the same time, I've got Andrew Tate dancing in videos saying there's nothing to worry about. Over here, I've got other people. I've got other pro-Iranian, pro-Russian influencers like Colonel McGregor went online and said that all the U.S. bases had been destroyed, like completely destroyed. That was only days in. That's clearly not true. So I don't know. And now
again, all sides engage in propaganda.
So how do you know what you're saying is true? How do I know this is the girls' school? The administration, the U.S. is the information coming from the U.S. administration itself, from the Pentagon, indicates that it was a U.S. missile that hit that girls' school, killing about almost 170 people. And then Trump comes out on Air Force One and says that Iran did it. So he's contradicting his own people, his own intelligence. And Hegseth says only Iran targets civilians. And I'm not saying the U.S. targeted that school. I'm thinking it was a wayward missile. It was something that was a mistake. But then Trump comes out and says, he said it wasn't us. He said it wasn't the U.S. He said it was he just didn't qualify it at all. It was Iran that did it, he said. And then he said that they used a Tomahawk missile because Iran has Tomahawk missiles. Well, where would they get those? From the U.S.? Well, does the U.S. ever sold Tomahawk missiles to Iran? So where the hell does that come
hope
from?
Not. Yeah. And all of this is part of fog of war. And again, both sides, all sides will always engage in propaganda. But as you said, trying to sort through it is and can be difficult. Could that have been an errant U.S. missile? Yes.
So we just trust the politicians that they're doing the right thing for the right reasons. Like, I'll tell you right now, as a Canadian sitting up here, seeing the way that the Trump negotiating team has been treating us and the propaganda directed at us right now, that makes me want to puke. I mean, it's gross what they're saying about us, Joseph. The lies are like off the chart. I have to tell you, just straight up freaking lies. In fact, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit tonight because I'm curious to know, like, what people what are you thinking about Canada right now? Like, I know that there are concerns, but I can flip that right around over on you guys, because what I'm seeing going on down in the States, like you're confirming, and Trump is confirming, you've got sleeper cells of Iranians ready to attack all over the US, right? So I'm like, I don't want that up here. So that's a huge threat to Canada, because we now have a destabilized environment on our soil because of what he has done. It's an attack on Iran that we weren't involved in, we weren't consulted on, and yet we're already paying the price, because we're seeing actually that a military base in, I think it was Kuwait, we'll get some information on this, just coming out now, where Canadian soldiers were stationed, I think along with some Americans, attacked, but the information didn't come out right away. It's just coming out today. It happened back on March 1st. Well, there's Canadian soldiers targeted, attacked, and we're not even involved in this. And yet I just had, David Wiley on, right? American, tied into the government, of course, and very, grateful for having him on. But he's expressing concerns about Canada's threat to the United States. You expressed concerns about Canada's threat to the United States because we have like some electric cars coming. I mean, literally people are freaking out. This is what I'm hearing on conservative media down in the States, and independent conservative media, and that Canada poses this huge threat to the United States. It's it's ridiculous. It's some of the stuff that I'm hearing is absolutely insane, insanely stupid and ridiculous. Just straight up propagandistic lies aimed at our country, when we're kind of in the same boat. Both of us, both of our countries, we both kind of have the same concerns, same objectives. I'm concerned, because accurate information right now is needed more than ever, especially when we're seeing these not just political, but even military objectives being identified and then acted upon with all of these different countries right now. And this is not what Trump promised during his election campaigns. He said he was going to keep the United States out of wars. He said that he didn't want boots on the ground in Iran. He said it repeatedly over and over. He said that other politicians had been stupid in the way that they've dealt with this stuff. For Iraq, for the way that the Middle East has been handled, he promised that he wouldn't go to war in Iran. He said it would be stupid to go to war in Iran. And yet here we are. And how many military interventions do we have now? What's going on? We're at war in Iran. Like, I'm not trying to pin this on you at all. I'm just saying that it just doesn't jive. What the hell has changed?
Nothing has changed from the first term and him saying, for decades, presidents, Democrat and Republican, said it will be unacceptable for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And everyone is kicking the can down the road. He is doing something about it.
Right. This goes back before 79. This goes way, way back. 53. This goes back to efforts to nationalize the oil in Iran, the installation of the Shah, which was a government propped up by the U.S.
Yep.
You think that was better? In some ways, I guess it was.
A lot of the Iranian people are asking for the son of the Shah to be installed. So they think it was. So were there, were in some cases was it better? Yes. Some cases was it worse? Yes. Again, no such thing as perfect.
It was the socially it was more liberalized, okay?
Yeah.
but it was still autocratic. It was authoritarian, brutal, propped up by the U.S. And
just as for a while we did Saddam too. Yes.
And so I mean, where's the consistency and where's the virtue in any of that?
No such thing as perfect.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Sometimes you deal in the lesser of the evils and hope for the best.
So we're going to war. We're at war to get a lesser evil. I hope not. I don't know, man. Like, I love you. Okay. Please don't invade us, because they're ramping up to do it, whether you realize it or not. It's a very real thing. And I know you keep dismissing it, but it's a very real thing up here.
Mm-hmm.
It is. You just don't see it because you're not being fed the information through your algorithms on your social media feeds, but I'm seeing it.
And also, I'm not going to address it because it's nothing I agreed to talk about today. Have no interest in bothering to discuss it. It's not the issue of concern.
It's absolutely the issue of concern. It's all tied together.
It may be for a lot of conspiracy theorists over Canada's concern right now, but yeah.
I've got, sir, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I deal in real information, and I have people talking about it on the U.S. side. This is bullshit. I didn't mean, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Joseph. That's not why I brought you on, because this, I am concerned about what happened in West Bloomfield. I don't like that. I don't like what happened in Norfolk. I'm against all of that. I don't like what Iran does. I don't like the way they destabilize the Middle East. I don't like any of that. I'm against all of it.
You are part of the Western culture. When they say death to America, they indeed mean death to all Western culture, including the Canadian culture. So are you at risk and under threat? Yes, you absolutely are.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. In fact, why don't we, I think I've got, none of this is meant to be directed at you, Joseph. It's not. It really isn't. I'm not, you're my friend. I'm not here to, put you on the spot or attack you at all. But
yeah, I'm concerned. Again, the U.S. consulate thing might be related to a lot of things going on, but the Tumbler Ridge School thing in September, in February, the Richmond, Ontario thing this month, 2 synagogues near Toronto this month, the influencer the other day, that was clearly politically motivated terrorism involved in that too. So it's not just a U.S. concern, and that's why I'm talking to you. It is all a concern on both sides of these borders.
On both.
We are not just the only ones at risk.
That is right. That's right. It's on both sides.
Because I saw somebody in the chat earlier saying, Rick, why don't you move to the U.S.? You're always talking about U.S. news. No, this isn't just, it happened here today, 2 places, but it's happening there too.
Sure it is.
Just talking about West Bloomfield Township today is also involving Ontario and other parts of Canada, the events that are happening there.
Yeah, 100%.
And we haven't even touched on yet the cyber attack of Stryker Corporation here in Michigan, which was anti-Semitic in nature, assault also, because they're claiming, the Zionist company, right? So the New York City attack the other day, protesters protesting the communist mayor and jihadists with improvised explosion devices, calling it Islamophobic to come out against the communist mayor. It had nothing to do with him being a Muslim. It has to do with him being a communist. But they engaged in the terror attack. And again, this isn't all just happening here, it's happening there. And I worry about some in your audience thinking, indeed, as that one said in the chat, you're focusing too much on over here. No, you are, because it's happening there too, and it's coming there too. It spills over from here to there.
Which is why the Prime Minister just a short time ago in Yellowknife talking about Arctic security, and here's Mark Carney.
Minister Alty, Minister Chartrand,
that
Minister
attack
McGinty, Secretary of State Fuhrer. Thank you all and those you work with for helping to make today happen. I'd like to thank the members of the 440 Transport Squadron for hosting us,
$30 billion
and for your service defending Canada and our communities.
Security today. $30 billion. More defense.
Thank you, Premier Simpson, for your leadership. I'm honored. My colleagues and I are honored to be joined by Indigenous leadership from across the North and the Arctic. Your partnership has made today possible. Your partnership will be essential to moving forward from today. Indigenous peoples have been the stewards of this land since time immemorial, and only by working in partnership with Indigenous rights holders, with the territorial governments. Only through that partnership can we build lasting prosperity. Only with that partnership can we build the North and the Arctic sustainably and ensure that the people of this region fully benefit from our actions. Now, awesome. That's good. I've never had a drum accompaniment. That's good. This is a historic day. And this historic day has been a long time coming. 1958, Prime Minister John Diefenbaker asked Canadians to consider, and I quote, a new imagination for the Arctic. He portrayed the North as Canada's last great frontier, part of our national consciousness. Well, certainly an area that contains 40% of Canada's landmass and over 70% of our coastline is at the very heart of our nation. But you have been patient because, well, it's at the heart physically of our nation. It hasn't always been treated as such. Over my lifetime, successive governments have helped make investments in new mines and ports, roads and bridges, outposts, and sometimes satellite systems. But too often, these steps have been taken with great caution or only after long delays. Too often, the investments were made with inadequate consultation and partnership. Too often, they were made one at a time, piecemeal, not connected either to the community or to each other. In short, they lacked the scale of ambition and the depth of strategy worthy of this vast region and its peoples. That's why, in response to input from Indigenous rights holders, territorial governments, other stakeholders, last September, we referred to the Major Projects Office a transformative strategy called the Arctic Economic and Security Corridor. And since then, the so-called MPO has been engaging with rights holders, governments, partners, territorial governments, federal departments, the private sector to translate a high-level strategy into an action plan with an integrated set of projects that complement the major investments that we are now making in our defense and security in the Arctic. Le gouvernement fédéral a la capacité de mettre en œuvre une vision de cette en vigueur. À cet moment, to build new roads, rail, airports, bridges, and ports. Last month, the Minister of Indigenous Services announced new measures to make life more affordable for Indigenous communities in the North, including lowering food costs and improving access to childcare and education. And today, we are announcing a series of transformative initiatives that will help unlock the full potential of this vast region. We're moving forward with an ambitious new plan backed by more than $40 billion of investments in Canada's North and Arctic. Investments to defend our sovereignty and to deter new threats. Investments to connect, build, and transform Northern and Arctic communities. With this plan, we are taking control of our future. We will no longer rely on others to defend our Arctic security or to fuel our economy. We're taking full responsibility for defending our sovereignty, and we are unleashing a range of new economic opportunities for the over 140,000 Northerners who will benefit from stronger, more connected communities, more opportunities, and a higher standard of living. La première tâche du gouvernement est d'assurer votre sécurité.
We'll just take that down. So, that's the tack that Canada is taking on Arctic security, which is something Trump keeps talking about, and with regard to Greenland. And he's following, the Prime Minister is following this up by heading off to the Arctic War Games, and he's going to visit Norway as well as part of that. Observing exercise will help inform domestic Arctic defense. So from Yellowknife, off he goes to Norway to talk about strategic alliances there and working with other countries to secure the Arctic for NATO.
And I am glad to see him stepping up and doing more about that. That's wonderful. That's great. Because indeed, as we've discussed, we're tired of being the one relied upon and always the backstop. Others need to step up and do more.
No problem.
But at the same time, I don't want you to bankrupt yourselves doing it. But the point is we've been bankrupting ourselves, allowing NATO to underspend on their defenses. More so Europe, I'm talking about now, of course. But, you know what I mean. We've had this discussion before. It's about time Europe is stepping up and taking their defense a little more seriously now. It's like, where is the UK and France and Spain in the Strait of Hormuz now? Where the hell is your Navy? Send your damn Navy to make sure the Strait of Hormuz stays open. It's not just our problem, it's more so Europe's problem, who is much more dependent on that oil than we are. So step the bleep up. Not Canada in this case. Canada, although you too over the years have been too much shutting down own domestic production and becoming a little too dependent on. And how environmentalists, I gotta ask these climate nuts, in all seriousness, how is it better to ship oil halfway around the world on ships, dirty oil, as opposed to the light, sweet crude we can bring out of our own ground? It's much more environmental in a way with our Western standards and environmental standards, and distill it here as a national security issue and a economics well-being issue. How is it better risking shipping it over in tankers and bearing that extra expense
Well, I think that part of the concern is following the rules and international law and not violating other countries' sovereignty. And so,
Well, that has
we're
nothing to
toward
do with
Canada. And
domestic drilling or not.
well,
Drill more.
this is with regard to, whether destroyers and aircraft carriers and military are being sent to the Middle East to engage in battle or to confront Iran. And I've addressed this many times since the beginning of the war, and that why did the UK not send its navy immediately? Because the UK doesn't want to be involved in an offensive action against Iran, but once Iran attacks a UK military base, now they can take defensive action. So now they're sending the Navy, and so too that may be the case with Canada, and that appears to have been something that happened on March 1st. Carney asked about this today, information just coming out. Ottawa questioned, you see in this headline, why Iranian strike on military hub with Canadian forces was not made public. Says the federal government is facing questions on why an Iranian missile strike on a military hub in Kuwait, where Canadian armed forces personnel are deployed, was not made public sooner. Reports of the strike first published in La Presse on Thursday, today. According to the report, the incident occurred March 1st at the Ali Al Salim Air Base in Kuwait, which is also home to a large American contingent. The report also said Canadian military members were not harmed. And then at that press conference in Yellowknife, Carney was asked directly about why Canadians were not informed about the incident earlier, but he did not give a direct response. I have queued up right here what he said. Here's his response.
Because he doesn't want Canada drawn into it. And I don't blame you for not wanting to in this yet at this point. And Iran is being rather stupid in the haphazard way they're attacking places. And indeed, if they kill Canadian troops, there are plenty of things they could hit to steer clear of Canadian troops or British troops or French troops or even other Islamic nation troops that are, or Islamic nations like Qatar. Qatar has been an ally to Hamas and Hezbollah. In fact, Qatar finally kicked Hamas out of Qatar, as we've been asking them to do for ages, because Qatar is saying, Iran, we've been housing your terrorists, and now you're going to attack us? What kind of moron does that? And Iran is bringing the whole world against them now. People like Canada and Qatar and whatever that would otherwise stay out of it, going to be drawn in on it now. And that's dumb on their part. And I can understand Carney. This is not about Carney. This is about Canada as a governance not wanting to release the information, because indeed they don't want to go draw into this if they don't have to be. I don't entirely blame them for that.
Well, let's listen to what he said.
If you can confirm in English if this attack happened, and why you didn't inform Canadian before?
Well, I mean, I'm not the only spokesperson for the government, but I'll just confirm that Canadian forces are, the members of the Canadian forces are all safe and sound. I reinforce, as I said in French, what you know, which is that we are not engaged in these actions of the U.S. and Israel. We're not engaged in offensive actions, and we will not be engaged in those actions.
See, if you listen to what he's saying carefully, Carney has been accused of kind of offering up word salads and contradictory statements with regard to the war and whether they're going to be involved or not. See, now let me ask you this. As you heard him say that, what does that mean, what he just said about not being involved in offensive actions? What's that mean to you? What do you hear?
wanting to hold back and not be dragged into it. And in a way, it would, on the one hand, you like the concept of a coalition, right? I would have loved, like with other nations, especially Afghanistan, Article 5 address. But when you bring in a coalition of a bunch of nations, it complicates things. It's much better if one set of military is doing it as opposed to, oh, are you going to do this or are you going to do that? Do we need it delays? It complicates a war. So in a way, I'd rather you stay out of it. At the same time, I'm asking other nations, why aren't you stepping up? But in a way, it's good that they're not.
That sounds
You know what
that sounds like a
I know I'm sounding
in itself.
I'm sounding contradictory. Yes, it's complicated. It's complex. War is not nice. It's not fun. It's messy.
Oh, that's for sure. See, what I hear is Carney, Starmer, other NATO countries, and I'll just use Carney as the specific example here. And he's been saying this. He has been consistent. He isn't contradicting himself. What he is saying is Canada will not be involved in an offensive operation against Iran.
But if you're drawn in,
which the United States it has done, which under international law could be deemed to be illegal, and Canada is saying no, we're not going to be involved in an offensive operation, but that he hasn't said they wouldn't be involved in a defensive operation. So the door is open, and Canada could become involved if Canada is attacked. Now, here we're seeing this base, right, attacked. Canadian troops
then
there.
why not have already used that
Americans there as well? Because, and I think it's because it's a little bit murky because Canadian troops were there, but it was, I think, American
they
troops
weren't
as
the
well.
ones targeted.
So it's
right. They would have been collateral damage. Again, that goes back to my saying, why would Iran be so stupid to attack such a target and risk that?
In addition to that, see, I understand what you say about not conveying information or telegraphing what you're going to do, but I don't agree with the idea that you don't identify your objectives, because it's important if you want the public support and if you want the support of other nations, but even just the American people, you always tell the people why you're going to war, but you don't tell the enemy how you're going to war. So, and it's important to convey consistent messaging to the people in order to make sure that you've got the people behind you, that you have public support, and you justify your actions that way, because you're now acting on behalf of the people, speaking for the people. It's not just a Trump campaign. It's something that has to be done for the country with the support of the people that he represents, because he's supposed to be the representative of the people, for the people, by the people, right? So that's why you convey this information, and that's how you generate support among other countries too. But the reason I think that the information may not have come out right away about the attack on that base involved with the Canadian troops there is for strategic reasons. You don't always just come right out and convey information about an attack on a base, because there might be strategic or security reasons for not conveying that information at the time. And so that might be why. Now, the media found out about it. They've asked him about it, and he's giving this sort of non-specific answer at this point. We'll find out more.
It's part of the propaganda thing. You don't want to tell the enemy they've been successful at something, right?
I think so, yeah. And there could be a whole range of reasons why that the public might not want to know. But for people who want to drag, and Canadians included, maybe some people in the media, they want to drag the country into the war. Why didn't you mention it? So there could be an agenda there too. So maybe that information gets leaked out to the media. They make an issue out of it. Now they can put it right in front of the prime minister's face and say, look, we were attacked. Why aren't you taking defensive action now? Right. So who knows what the real motives are behind any of this stuff. It's crazy. Now, just a couple of things, because you mentioned the Tumbler Ridge attack, and I didn't get to this. I had it queued up yesterday to mention that the family of one of the victims is suing OpenAI because they are saying not only did they not issue a warning
I heard
about
that.
it,
Yes,
they're saying that OpenAI, through their algorithm, through the information that it was conveying back to the killer, that it was helping the killer plan this thing. And so this is
that's
the
allegation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would not
allegedly,
because I can see it and this is why they knew what he was going to do, because he was asking AI how to do it.
Yes.
And AI was giving him the answers, allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. But there have been several suits. It's like the suicides also. Not uncoincidentally, Saturday the 14th, I am dropping a Constitutionalist episode on AI follow-ups, and I go into some of the lawsuits on that. The problem here is that AI, we've all seen the old sci-fi movies, right? AI and robots, Star Trek, what's always the prime directive? Do not harm humans, right? Remember iRobot with what's his face? Will Smith, right? Do not harm humans. Terminator. You remove the do not harm human as the prime directive, then anything goes. The prime directive, and this is humans' fault, not the AI, and humans indeed can and could and should be held responsible for the failure, coding these things to be supportive and encouraging, even at times when people are thinking of self-harm, hence the suicide lawsuits, hence aiding and abetting, allegedly, potential terror attacks against fellow humans, because that safeguard isn't in there. It's always a one-on-one personal, be encouraging. Well, you can't be encouraging and supportive in all situations. There have to be exceptions to that rule. And there hasn't been, alleged.
The other thing you mentioned that I'm going to circle back to here momentarily, is Pearl Harbor. You did mention Pearl Harbor earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned Pearl Harbor last night because the reason I mentioned that is not so much because of Pearl Harbor itself, but because of, you remember what came after Pearl Harbor? How the U.S. responded?
The Doolittle raid?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I
wasn't sure if that's exactly where you were going or not. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mentioned that last night, and I was trying to jog my memory. I may have misspoken about a few of the details on it, but so I thought I'd bring it up here because it's a great story of American resilience and ingenuity.
There was a movie on that.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't remember
Great
what
over
it was
Tokyo.
called.
There are a few movies actually, but I may not have had all the details correct because I was talking about the bombers being launched off the aircraft carrier and how difficult it was, and I pulled up. There's some newsreel footage from the day, so I'm going to bring that up here because it's a great story, right? Going back to World War II, silent film. Combat area activities. And yeah, this has the images of these bombers being launched off the aircraft carrier at the
You
time.
barely got them on there to begin with. Barely could keep them on, trying
Right.
to ship them over, and then trying to take off in rough seas off of too short a runway.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Just over 400 feet of runway for the first bomber. They had 16 of these things on the deck, the B-25 Mitchells, medium bombers, led by Colonel James Jimmy
Which is
Doolittle.
why they had to be put on a ship. There was no such thing as intercontinental bombers at the time like we have today.
Yeah. And so the ship was spotted by a boat. They sank the Japanese boat because, and the reason they were there was, but they had to launch early, about 600 miles out instead of the planned 400 and some miles. So that made it even more dangerous. And, President Roosevelt at the time pushed for a strike on Japan right after Pearl Harbor because he wanted to lift American spirits. Also, I think wanted to demoralize as much as he could through a propagandistic air raid, the Japanese at the time. And so it was
You
a
hit us
and morale boost, right?
You hit us, we can hit you. Yes.
Right. And so this was something that took the Japanese completely off guard at the time. The bombers flew very low, like about 25 feet above the waves in order to evade radar until they got very close to the targets. Then they went up to about 1,500 feet. The planes had been stripped right down and then loaded up with bombs. They put broomsticks out the back turrets to look like there were guns there, but there weren't. They just painted broomsticks black, but they tried to get rid of as much weight as they could to get these
or
things.
it wouldn't have been able to take off. Exactly. Yep.
And so 16 of these things, people watching, even the sailors on the deck at the time, thought at least a few of these things were going to crash into the
ocean. Yeah.
Every single one got up. They all flew toward the target. And look at the seas. See, it was terrible weather. They had to get these things launched early because the ship had been spotted, and they didn't want to risk detection. So even though they sank the Japanese boat that spotted them, they still launched early to.
Because that boat could have already radioed back.
That's exactly right. Yes. So off they went, and they were successful in dropping their bombs.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, they couldn't land. They couldn't land back on the aircraft.
No, you could not land them on it. They had hoped to land in still free areas of China, but most of them, because they had to take off early, didn't have sufficient fuel to get that far, had to ditch behind enemy lines. Yep.
Yeah. Do you remember the story about the pilots that ditched over China?
That was part of one of the movies, but
did they? Do you know what happened after they ditched?
Well, some of them got away. Some of them were captured, were they not? So
the Chinese, the people, they protected the pilots. They took them in. They hid them from the Japanese who were in those areas. They were at war. China was an ally of the United States, of the West, and they saved your pilots.
Like happened in Afghanistan a lot too. The tribal nature, the Lone Survivor movie with was it Wahlberg? Great movie in that regard. The spirit of you're here to help us. We're going to protect you.
Some of the pilots did get captured by the Japanese, and one of the planes ended up going into Russian territory. Where it was interned. But yeah, the Chinese saved most of your pilots, protected them. Do you know what happened after that? the Japanese came in, and because of the aid that the Chinese provided to your pilots, they massacred huge numbers of the Chinese. They
Not
they
surprising.
they
Yeah.
destroyed the airfield where the bombers were supposed to land. All the planes were lost, actually, so the pilots all had to bail out.
Yeah, not one
and-
made. Why they destroyed the runway? Because not one of them made it, and the likelihood of another such raid would have been slim. But I guess they didn't want to take the chance. But anyway, none of this has anything to do with what's
sure it
going
does.
on
It's got
today.
everything to do. The reason I brought it up last night is because Iran, because there's this credible threat of drone attacks on California. I view that as sort of a reverse Doolittle raid.
Now I see where you're going.
Yeah, so
with
that's
it.
why I brought it up.
Okay, now
they want to demoralize the U.S., right?
Now
But,
it's not
but
just
then
a
it- but
threat
it-
to California, though.
Absolutely not.
Again, it's not just a threat to California. If there are indeed sleeper cells or even lone wolves, there don't have to be sleeper cells. There can be sympathizers who radicalized recently buy drones off the shelf and attach IEDs anywhere.
There was just one piece of information that I just thought you might be interested in, and I think that everybody needs to take note of this. The Japanese went in and they slaughtered at least 10,000 Chinese citizens, most of them non-combatants who had been accused of and had helped the U.S. pilots who bailed out directly. Then the Japanese initiated a broader military action that resulted in 250,000 Chinese being slaughtered in retaliation for the Doolittle raid. That's the price China paid for its alliance with the United States and for saving U.S. pilots. I think it's worth noting because it's something that even here in Canada, we are not really taught in our schools, and I don't think it really comes out even in the Hollywood blockbusters that have been produced over the years.
Right, it doesn't go that far to that extent.
Yeah, because that's the retaliation that came after, and it was really China that paid a big price for that raid, that single raid. So it's just more context, and then of course after World War II, things changed a lot because you had the change in government, and China became an adversary after World War II of the United States. But it was the people that ultimately came together and provided the support and the safety. So just thought we should highlight that because a lot of people, a lot of blood spilled there all the way around. And it's tragic. Another tragic story, but also a great American story of ingenuity, resilience, and fortitude. So it's all history now, but strangely, with the threat of a drone attack off California's coast, echoes of the past.
Yeah. Now they don't need to ship drones from Iran. North Korea, China, Russia could aid and abet them and allow them to load up a boat and send them over. But again, not even that. Sleeper cells or lone wolves can get a drone and attach an IED. That's why my book, It's Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. These things can happen anywhere. And while we're talking about West Bloomfield Township and Norfolk, Virginia today, it can be anywhere in Canada tomorrow. And I wanted to ask you, because I haven't heard any follow-up, that Canadian influencer that was killed, what much additional information's come out about that? I haven't gotten any more information on that.
I'm not aware of any new information at this point. I think it will take a little bit more time now because, it's out of the news cycle at least it has been for a few days, we'll get there will be more coming out, but I think it will probably take a few more days, maybe another week or so. There'll be some sort of an update in due course. I just don't think that they're ready. I'm surprised, honestly, that the RCMP CSIS not involved at the federal level on that particular case at this point.
Yeah,
I think that will probably change because it's still being handled at the local and regional level. So.
You and I talked back when it happened, the New Orleans truck attack.
Mm-hmm.
And remember also that same day there was the Tesla Cybertruck with incendiaries under the canopy of the carport at a Vegas casino.
Yeah.
There's still no real information about any of that that's come out of all this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to dig for nuggets on that. So it upsets me when we don't get follow-up information on these type of events. Because that was really weird with the Cybertruck thing. We were perplexed.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to when at this point the investigation's still very fresh and they're still searching, right, to make an arrest. So they're not going to release a lot of information. They don't want to compromise their investigation. They don't want to dirty up any kind of evidence they might collect through, interviews and so on that they collect from people. They're having dealt with the cops a lot over the years. I understand their techniques. The less information they put out there, the less chance there is of someone seeing something on the news and being alerted or even prejudiced in what they say when they're being questioned about something. If you understand what I mean, you can see something on the news and then mix that up in your head and then say that to an
subconsciously influence.
So there's a lot of that that's I think in play here. Once an arrest is made, once a charge is laid, then it starts to go through the process. And even there, a lot of times the information doesn't really come out in full until it goes to trial. And what people don't understand, especially in the Canadian system, is that once the suspect is arrested, then they're arraigned in court. That a lot of then they really clam up. They hold there's publication bans that go into place for exactly those reasons, so that a jury
don't influence the jury, right?
Then later the information does come out during the trial, but people freak out and they say, well, why can't they just report the information? It's for those reasons. That's why.
It's frustrating from our side wanting to know, but it's the same thing going back to West Bloomfield today. Yeah. They were cautious what they were going to say at the pressers today, again, because while we all pretty much understand the likely motive, we don't know all the details of what his motivations were. And the investigation has to be careful to see if there are accomplices who aided and abetted them. Because now that the guy's dead, that's, case closed, whatever, forget it, move on. No, you can't do that. So it's frustrating that it's like, I know you know more, but I want to know more, but at the same time, I understand.
Yeah, give me the name.
Why you're holding it.
I want the name.
Yeah,
right?
the name at least we want. Yes.
Yeah.
And again, we've not gotten a firm confirmation or rebuttal on whether it was, because I wrote it down. When the person on Newsmax said it, I wrote it down so I would be able to say it on air. The guy said a naturalized citizen from Lebanon living in Dearborn drove to Bloomfield Hills. We have no confirmation or rebuttal of that yet. So we're left unknowing. And that unknowing is horrible, because would it surprise anyone that a nut job was being harbored in Dearbornistan, an anti-Semite harbored in Dearbornistan. Oh, here's my shocked face, right? But we need confirmation, not just speculation.
Well, from what I saw from the news conference, I thought that it was handled properly. Frustrating, you don't get more
As
information,
best
but
they
I think
could,
the
yeah.
cops are doing the best they can in a very
Mhm.
tough situation. And I'll just say this: as bad as much as it's a tragedy down in Norfolk, I'm extremely grateful that everybody was kept safe at the synagogue.
In both cases, I think we somewhat dodged a bullet, to use the phrase,
Oh,
right?
very much.
That they struck at a time that was less target rich environment. Let's just put it that way. So we got lucky in those regards, and there were people who could and did respond immediately, so it didn't get worse.
Well, sir, we're going to wrap things up here. I think we've covered things off pretty well. Is there anything before we do that you think we might be missing, or you want to add tonight?
No, I think we've touched on.
Plug your book, Terror Strikes.
Yeah,
you better do that.
Terror Strikes coming soon to a city near you. And yeah, that's why the subtitle, right? Again, the drone threat isn't just California, and it's just not the United States. We're seeing how haphazard the Iranians are reacting. Basically shotgun attacking anyone and everyone.
Just one last thing. You're right there in Detroit. Like this is why I reached out to you today. This is right in your backyard, this attack today.
Pretty much, yeah.
So what impact is this having on your community?
The whole southeast of Michigan, multiple counties went in schools into lockdown and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, because you don't know if it's a one-off or if it's just an initial attack and other attacks are coming. So you have to treat it like there are going to be a succession, a sequence of them, that this is just the first assault.
So when this happened, did you get like an alert on your phone? Media alerts must have gone out. Parents being told that their schools, all the schools in the area were being locked down. I guess something like that. Tell me, do you know? Just tell me kind of what was going on.
Yeah, in that county it was. It didn't make it to Wayne County where I am, but I actually kind of surprised because indeed the whole Tri-County area, again, with Dearborn the way it is, and if you saw on the news months ago where someone stood up and literally the mayor told, we don't want you here, why don't you move? Christians are no longer welcome in Dearborn. Excuse me? When did the city of Dearborn become an Islamic caliphate? So those tensions.
Back up. You said somebody said that Christians aren't welcome in Dearborn?
The mayor, elected mayor of Dearbornistan, said to a Christian in the audience, you're not welcome here, move out. It's like, I was here before you got here, was his reaction, of course.
When did that happen?
That was months ago. It was sometime last year, actually. But yeah, we never talked about that. But those tensions are still high all through Southeast Michigan. So indeed, when an event like that happens in West Bloomfield, it puts the whole region on alert.
Wow. I hadn't heard that. Here it is here. Dearborn Mayor. This is September of last year.
Oh.
Here, I'm going to bring it up.
Well, you found it pretty quick. Yeah, it made the news, obviously.
Obviously. Well, something like that would, no doubt.
Yeah.
Here, let's show the headline. I'm going to bring that up. That's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah. It furthers the radical stereotype that all of Dearborn is now an enemy territory. And we can't have that, obviously.
Here, let's just run this. Get the audio.
When Carney became prime minister.
No, that's not it. No, this is not. The video's got nothing to do with it. Dearborn mayor holds firm on remarks about Christian minister. Mayor Abdullah Hammoud of Dearborn has refused to say he's sorry for remarks he made that went viral after he told a Christian minister he's not welcome here.
Exactly.
Hammoud, September 9th.
Try to reverse those roles, right? If a Muslim in a predominantly Christian city and a Christian mayor were to say that to a Muslim, imagine the outrage. It's amazing.
Let me get the actual quotes here. So at Dearborn's first city council meeting Tuesday, this is September 9th, an exchange with local Christian minister Ted Barham during a street renaming debate. Hammoud also didn't apologize for saying he would launch a parade when Barham left town. Instead, Barham opened his remarks by repeating the words that went viral at the previous meeting. The mayor, in a way, cursed me, as was seen around the world, and I would like to repeat what I said that day to you. Mr. Mayor, God bless you, Barham said. Barham also urged the council to bless those who curse you, love your haters, and I would say that in regard to Hezbollah as well. I would say that in regard to Mr. Siblani, and I would say to Israel to love your haters. The earlier debate was about renaming an intersection after Osama Siblani, the controversial founder and publisher of the Arab American News. Shane Reif of Garden City told council on Tuesday that he was shocked to learn that Hammoud had appeared at a rally where Siblani praised Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah as a hero. We have a mayor in the United States who is sharing a platform. This is a quote from Reif. We have a mayor in the United States who is sharing a platform with somebody, with a terrorist, ? Where is your allegiance? Is your allegiance to the United States or is your allegiance to Hezbollah?
And that's, again, for those who might want to say, well, this is U.S. news again, who cares? There are parts of Toronto where the same sorts of things play out. It matters what's happening here because that could become all of Toronto tomorrow if you let it.
So he says here, when Hammoud spoke later in the evening at the Tuesday meeting, he said, Dearborn represents the best of America, where people of all backgrounds, of all faiths, and of all beliefs can live peacefully and respectfully as neighbors.
Should be able to.
For decades, people have been intent on dividing and disparaging our city, Hammoud said. Dearborn has never fallen for these divisive attempts. Back then and still now, Dearborn residents from every corner of this city have come together to shun hatred and to root it out of the place that we're all proud to call home. Well, that sounds like a pretty divisive story. I am not sure if maybe people are not hearing each other correctly, or I don't know. It even from reading that story, I wonder what was actually said and what was actually meant, and what maybe was really meant even behind the scenes. Michigan mayor calls local bigot for opposing street Hungarian conservative. Yeah, it's a pretty nasty story. Well, that's pretty awful. What can I say?
But when something like this happens today, the anti-Semitic demonstrations of Dearborn immediately become in question. And especially when we hear unconfirmed, the person was harbored in Dearborn.
I've got the clip. It was right here. I want to play it so people get the real context on it. I hope it's long enough to give us here, I'm going to bring it up over here. If it's still published, it should be. Hang on. Yeah, I've got it. Who wants to see it? Do you want to see it? I want to see it. I'm going to run it. Okay. Bring it up. I wasn't aware of this story at all, Joseph. So this is something that wasn't fed to me over on this side of the border.
And this is not just a U.S. issue. The same thing plays out in places across Canada, too. So I'm sorry it matters to you over there.
Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
Hezbollah, bombed.
Yeah, so literally the mayor is siding and defending terrorists, like a lot of protests across the U.S. and Canada. Especially what kills me is the queers for Palestine, right? Queers for Hamas, who would literally throw them from a building if given the chance, but they're supporting the terrorists. No, that guy wasn't calling out all Muslims. He was talking specifically about Hezbollah, the declared terrorist organization.
Oh, man. We're in so much trouble because there's so much hate all the way around. So, did you follow the monks? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, what monks?
The monks in the Monks March.
Didn't hear anything about this.
I know, me either. Until like 2 days ago, I missed the whole thing. These Buddhist monks, they marched from, where was it? Way down in the south, and they marched all the way up to, I think it was Washington. Maybe it was New York. I can't remember. But no information about this. I just heard about it in passing. These guys, thousands of miles they walked for peace, and hardly any coverage. My God! And so
this is the first I've heard of it, even. So
yeah, monks walking to Washington. Amazing what they did. Walk for peace. We could use a little more of this, I'll tell you. Let me see if I've got. Hang on. Yeah, I've got the video. Some in bare feet, for crying out loud. And then they get to Washington, and of course they had speeches and stuff, right? So I was watching the speeches, and I love these guys. They're amazing. I've been meaning to come back to it and run it. I may as just do a little bit of it right now. I was going to run the one speech, but I've got this. I don't have the thing queued up that I wanted to share with people, but here, I'll run this.
After more than 3,700 kilometers on foot, a group of Buddhist monks arrive in Washington, D.C. They've walked for more than 3 months, carrying a simple message: peace.
Spread only that message, loving kindness, compassion, and peace to the universe, instead of hate and anger and greedy and delusion, all kind. This world will turn into a better place for all of us to live.
Their journey began in Fort Worth, Texas last October, when 19 monks set out from their temple with little more than robes, backpacks, and their rescue dog, Aloka. From there, through Louisiana and Mississippi, where they began to pick up followers. After that, they trekked through the South, including Columbia, South Carolina, where the crowd swelled to the thousands as word of their journey began to spread. Later, they reached Richmond, Virginia, and more joined. They walked through rain and snow, averaging around 30 kilometers a day. In all, they traveled across 8 states before reaching their final destination, the equivalent of crossing nearly half the country on foot.
The monks say that arriving here in Washington, D.C., where they've been welcomed by hundreds of welcoming onlookers, is a sacred moment. They tell us that this is not a protest, this is not a political demonstration, but rather a meditation in motion, one step at a time.
Their arrival in Washington comes at a moment of deep political tensions in the United States, giving their message of peace more than just a symbolic weight. For many, the Walk for Peace stirs strong emotions about the current political climate.
We're broken as a society. We're broken as a country. And we need peace.
Not only did they rack up steps, but followers too, going from having practically no social media presence to a following of millions on platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Even Aloka, their most loyal companion, gained a massive social media following.
As a dog lover, I'm so impressed with this dog and how it's become a symbol for this walk.
The monks say their goal isn't to affect policy, but rather to change hearts and minds, and to remind human beings of all faiths that peace doesn't begin with institutions, it begins within each person. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Peace is a wonderful concept, but as I always say, hope is great. We need more hope, but hope isn't a strategy. And unfortunately, our enemies have a say in whether there will be a peace or not. And unfortunately, human nature, we've always been a warring species. We've always been a cultural, clannish species that have gone at each other. And indeed, it's a shame. I wish it could be different, but I deal in the reality of the here and now and what has always been. And I go back to, like I said before, do you want to just sit around and wait till nukes are going off all over the place? Or do we cost some lives now to save potentially millions?
Well,
there's only one way to peace. That's surrender to the enemy. Just surrender and let them. You could be peaceful as a slave, probably not going to be treated too well, but in a way, that's the only way to assured peace, not willing to fight.
Well, I love you, Joseph. And with that, we'll sign off tonight with this tribute to the Buddhist monks and Aloka.
Yeah, rose-colored says in the chat, humans are the worst predators on earth. Yes.
If I may. If I may. Because I really don't give a damn what rose-colored glasses says. I ignore all those people over there. So please don't acknowledge them. Ignore.
Okay.
With that being said, because they don't deserve the time. With that, here's our salute, my salute. You can salute anybody you want. I salute you. I love you. I love all you guys. And I love Aloka, the rescue dog, and the Buddhist monks. See you back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. On the flip side, it's time for me to show a little love to Cosmo. Later.
I heard old Cosmo howling last night up on the hill where the moon shines so bright. He was singing a tune, lonesome dogs cry about freedom and running and touching the sky. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. Cosmo's got them paws that just itch to roam. He's chasing his dreams, he's far from home. With a heart full of love and a spirit so free, he's living his life wild and carefree. If I leave here tomorrow, Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a blur. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes. Now the night's getting cold and the sky's turning gray, but Cosmos still out there, he's miles away. He's not looking back, he's got his path to tread. With every step, he's leaving his bed. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. So if you're feeling lost, just think of Cosmos Run. Remember his spirit, his freedom, his fun. And maybe one day, when you're feeling alone, you'll find your own freedom and let your spirit go. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. Eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a bird, a heart full of love and a spirit so free. He's living his life wild and carefree. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard a bird. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.